So I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with the partners, and I asked this question, and I think the answer that came back is that it's so different. And none of the partners I spoke to could say that they were really pattern on it's typically that industry or these type of people or the size of the company that are concerned about the open source. It's more or less random. It comes to people's minds, perceptions. The IT department, the IT manager, whatever, could have had an experience beforehand, or is misled, or just not informed enough, or simply have a policy of we're not using open source, or there are communities, and we see that in the UK, for example, that public authorities have a directions, and that they are supposed to use open source. So we need to just communicate broadly, because there's not one specific cluster or area or people that we need to educate. It's a matter of continuously just on the drumbeat, and then show what it means to be a partner to us, have the support, understanding our release cycle, which we control. But I see it that the trends is getting more and more accepting on this, as everything. Germany, to take one, they are typically very conservative, and things like outsourcing came 10, 15 years later than in the US. A lot around Microsoft and the platform, and that's growing now. That's also taken some time, and we can now see that the acceptance for open source is coming. So that's the trend we can see. And I think we need to be humble. We can try to market ourselves. We do it, we get out there. But in this case, we just have to follow the trend. There are certain forces of nature, as I call it, that we just have to understand, and then follow where we can follow it, and then not fight nature when it's not. Pick your fights is another way of putting it. But there is, to quote one of our partners, said that in every RFP we get for a CMS, they state that it has to be headless, and none of them knows what it is. But we always say, yeah, this is our solution is headless. So there's a lot of other buzzwords that we need to, that is a little bit more of a hinder for us. But one of the effects of being open source, rather than be open source, is that there is no price to it. And we all people, I mean, we are the same, right? That if you don't not informed and something is a low price or even cheap or even for free, you think that can't be for us. Then we have we have a very complicated thing here. We have, this is something, and our requirements are from here to the end, and having something for free, that can't be. Or our hosting, that we're very cost competitive, to the point where some partners said, you're too cheap, guys. Because people, they just look upon it and say, well, we need that bigger one, right? Without really knowing it. That could be more of a concern. But the majorities of successful business are built over time. It's hard work for a long period of time, and continue with your strategy, sure that you build and deliver what the client wants. And that's something I've learned over the years, that you can sit back home and invent, and you've talked to each other so many times, you convinced everyone internally that this is the best thing ever. And then you get out there, meeting up with your clients, you're super enthusiastic of the presentation, and the response you get is, oh, yeah, maybe, yeah, maybe, we'll look into it. We raise the bar for next year. We are in a very good position, but we raise the bar. We have the capabilities to go higher. And that is where we also see that for the enterprise readiness, our architecture and platform is capable of having extreme workload. If you put it into we have websites, and we have extreme populations and people coming into the sites. They have a separate front end, but with our hardcore in the middle, an architecture with a lot of integrations. We are enterprise ready as it is, based upon the client needs. We are coming out with an orchestration platform as it is. So I would say we're rather looking at the big enterprises moving up towards them, and that's where we take market share, rather than looking at the space where WordPress is completely dominating. Setting up an Umbraco, and that's a strategic way to be easier to bundle and to say here's a wouldn't say a suite, but a package of best for need, not best of breed, but best of need, so that you can actually play it. So personalization, I heard about personalization 20 years ago, on the day, I would say. This was in the beginning, and this was the heydays of e-business. I was with PwC Consulting. We won a big business for a large retail firm that was supposed to build a whole infrastructure with a warehouse that would serve online customers. There were no online trading. Back in the days, then no one had any real trading. There were a few books that started, some electronics, but they wanted to do retail and daily groceries. So we sat there, and this guy started, yeah, and we need to have personalization on the side. And we were consultants, and I was a young consultant. So I just wrote it down. Personalization. What the frick is that? Yeah, okay, what did I say? And then he started. So let me just explain this to you guys. When I'm coming into the site and I feel like an apple, I want to be presented with things that gives me emotions like an apple. And I wrote down apple question marks. And then we would listen to him, and we didn't say, do you have any question, guys? And we did no questions. When we got out of the meeting, we said, did you get that with the apple? What was that personalization? I don't know. We need to check it out. So fast forward 20 years later, we're still, the capabilities, the technology capabilities having, of course, been increased. There are shops there. I've been in their ad tech business for quite a while, and there with the whole personalization in the sense of targeting and retargeting cookies and all those things, the path of conversion has been materialized there. But when we see on websites as it is, I would say, and some data points, and when I talk to partners, they claim that as little as 10% of the ambitious personalization projects based upon the advanced technologies are getting realized. 90% of them kind of partly get implemented or not even implemented at all, because you start in too ambitious. You are creating 15 personas on a stack of thousands of pages where you just complicate it. You bring in some external data, you bring in some CRM data, all when the project have this great design thinking workshops with post-its and everything. It looks great. Yes, yes, yes. We want that. We want that. And we want that too. And a little bit more of that. And when the project teams start working, it just don't get there. What are we to serve? What is it? Conflicts are starting arising. IT gets in, can't deliver that. When can do that? Well, in 2 years. 2 years, we can't do that. Too complicated. And I think that's the fact. So the whole iterative agile development, agile thinking of things was just hallelujah for me. Sprints and all that, start doing. And that's the part of it is also with Engage. You can work in sprints, you can work incremental. You could start off with 2 personas, divide your material in. Is this a marketer, a technician, or a salesperson coming in? And just simply doing that. Get nice reporting that you can act upon. I developed for a large Swedish furniture brand. I cannot say which one, but flat back, this one. We developed an enormous dashboard that was when you get into the reception, a huge 4 flat screens with all statistics on the website. And I asked, when we look upon this, do you use this for anything? No, just number of visitors and revenue. That's what we do. The rest is just, buzz around. So whole the reporting thing is also, as you build enormous complex reporting that you can't act upon. Engage is very, very simple in that sense, brings the value to it, not the most complicated. Our competitors have greater capabilities, but it works from the start. First party data, you bring that in, very good dashboards that you can see. You can do A and B testing, which is just simple. Let's try this and this. You can do A, B, and C testing, but then suddenly it's getting too complicated. So that's what we like. For real. It works for real. And that's what that resonates. So that's where we want to be also. Things that we release must work. It's not a technology project. Whatever project there is pushing a change management project in front of you. There's always a change management, because you get in the projects and suddenly you need to sort out the codes, whatever it is. You see this all the time, right? And respect that and understand that. Then with a proper business case, I thought through what you want to achieve, it's less down to technology. I usually say that is AI overhyped? Yes, it is. Is it a long-term disruptor? Absolutely, yes. But there is a tendency that we overestimate the short-term impact and underestimate the long-term. We saw it happen in the heydays of e-business coming out, when mobile phones were coming out. The first, for us that were around, where data submissions, digital transformation were coming up, and you could see the stock exchange or the stock prices on a mobile phone, and that was the only thing you can do. We all went super. Everyone needed to be on a mobile phone. We overestimated the short-term impact, but we underestimate the long-term impact, because what we do now, everything is on the phone, right? AI will be a major disruptor, absolutely, but currently it's overhyped. What I see now is that on the back of the technology, we're trying to create business cases. On the back of the technology, we're trying to create business cases. It's not the other way around. So friends working with AI, it's all that. There are companies that are panicking. We have now dedicated trillions of dollars for AI projects in our organization. Where? What? We're going to build 2,000 agents. We've built 7 so far, but we're going to build another 2,000 in total. For what? Well, it's just going to build it, because AI is the future. Yeah. So I'm not want to be an old grumpy man saying it won't affect. It's a major impact, but it's currently on the back of the technology. We're trying to find the cases. So we get the questions: what do you do? How do you implement? As I see it, I talked about the interesting thing of data quality and AI slop, which is actually a Swedish word. That's how international we are in Sweden. It's brought in as a new 2024. They always publish a list of new words. They're becoming more and more English words, but AI slop is now a official Swedish word. So that is back to where the reality hits. It's data quality. We've had big machine learning and big data for at least almost 10 years. Data has been gold. Companies have so much data. They want to do something with the data, but they don't have the business cases. And on the back of that, a couple of years ago, there were a survey saying that all these high-paid data engineers, they spend more than 80% of their time just cleaning and cleansing data.
Yeah.
So when we rush into this AI now, the LLMs will be key. It's super impressive what ChatGPT and others are doing on that, but when you're getting that down to your own business case, your own websites, your own local LLMs, what's the quality of this? Because if you start training the AI on wrong data, it's just going to multiply the errors. But never underestimate the kind of force of nature. I learned that at IBM. IBM is trying to change the world constantly, but it's really difficult. And they think they can just change what things, but it's not. It is market trends out there, what clients want, what's their needs, and sometimes we talked about it earlier. You invent the best things in sliced bread, you believe, but it's not really to that point. Maybe they get there. Understanding what the client wants. That's and not force technology upon them.
Ja,